Alright, in today's video we are going to be doing 10 Trial of the Sekhemas and PoE2 0.3, the Rise of the Abyssal League. We are going to see how good these things are these days. I haven't really played PoE2 in a while since like the first release, so we're going to see how it is now, and we are going to run some of these labs. They are all eye level 80. I'm going to put everything in this dump tab, and I'll probably just show little highlights of me killing each of the bosses or whatever, and then we'll just add up whatever I get at the end. Alright, and then real quick, I just wanted to go over what relics I'm using. So first of all, we are going with 3 additional choices from the merchant, along with capping our honor res on these 3 relics right here. So you just need 75, got a little bit over. But after that, we are going with fountains have a chance to grant double sacred water on this, this, and this for a total of 36%. We have 69% increased defenses, which will give me some more ES, and it obviously boosts honor as well. And then we also have max honor here, here, and here, along with reduced merchant prices for a total of 86 max honor, which means we just get a ton of honor in here, and we'll get a lot of water from the little fountains, which will help us buy more stuff from the merchant, eventually just making the run super easy. So that's the relics we're running. Let's get into it. Okay, so before we get into the chest opening, I just wanted to quickly go over the boons and afflictions that I tend to go for and avoid throughout the run. For the boons, there are a ton of good ones, but with the relics that I'm running, I pretty much end up with like every single boon on each run. So the main priority early game is to just look for Silver Tongue, which gives reduced merchant prices, and then I typically look for like a Scrying Crystal or Flooding Rivers, as these allow the run to go much smoother. And for afflictions, I really only need to avoid anything that gives random afflictions, as well as the affliction that removes 5% of life when an enemy hits me. However, there are some others that I avoided, such as like not being able to see afflictions on the map or not being able to see one room further ahead on the map, as these are just annoying and they can lead to scenarios where you end up having to take an affliction that you don't want. That's all I really wanted to touch on for the boons and afflictions. If you have any questions about this topic, you can feel free to leave it in the comments and I'll reply to you. But now let's take a look at the chest priority after killing the final boss. So when it comes to chest priority, there's really only 3 chests that we actually care about, which are the royal chests, which give regular jewels, the timeless chest, which gives timeless jewels, and the spectrum chest, which gives spectrum jewels and is the rarest out of the 3. In the 10 runs that I did, I found 1 spectrum chest, which I feel is probably average or even a bit lucky. But if you've opened all of those 3 chests, it doesn't really matter what you use your keys on. I typically went for like mysterious, arcanist, or relic chests with leftover keys. But now that we've covered that, let's take a look at the loot that we got from the 10 runs. Okay, so we are done with the 10 trials of the Sekhemas. This build definitely isn't quick by any means, so they took me on average like 40 to 50 minutes to complete, which I feel like you could probably do these in like 20 to 30 minutes with a quicker build. But here's what we got. We got 2 full quad tabs worth of goodies. There's still a lot of like rares in here that I just haven't looked through yet, so I'm going to go through and clean up these extra 2 tabs real quick and make it all fit into these 2 main ones. Obviously, this one's full of jewels, but we're going to break this one down and see if there's any money in here. Obviously, we got like a few divine drops, and we got a few of these desperate alliances, which are worth a little bit right now. So I will get back to you guys once I clean up a bunch of these rares. Alright, so we got rid of a bunch of the rares, and now I just need to go through here and look at all of these relics and see if there's any that are even worth selling. I'm sure there's going to be a couple of them, but there's a ton of them. I'm just going to 3-to-1 them. If I get any big ones, I will update you guys, and if not, well, I will see you anyways once this tab is a lot more clear and we're pretty much down to just the jewels, and then we'll go over what we're going to do with those. Alright, so we pretty much finished selling everything off out of the tab. We have these little relics over here, like 5 to 10 div. We're just going to sell those in the shop overnight. And then we got this relic is a little bit better than those ones. It's like 60 to 70x it looks like. And obviously we got 2 raw divines, a little bit of exalts. We got 3 of these, which are about 2 divines a piece. So that's another 6 div. And then obviously we got a grand spectrum, which is 2% increased spirit, which currently is going for about 8 divines or 24 nulls. I don't really know why people are doing the whole null thing, but whatever. And then obviously we have the entire jewel tab still, which the plan for the jewel tab is to ID every single one of them, augment every single one of them, regal all of them, and then lastly, we are going to be exalting every single jewel in here. Now, I am not going to be reading all these, but we're going to get them all to 4 modifiers, the max that they can have. We're going to list them in a bulk sale tab for like 3 divines, and then we'll just lower it over the days until we sell a couple of them. And then I'll get back to you guys with like the total profits we got, because obviously it's kind of hard to just put a price on these. I mean, you could obviously get pretty lucky with IDing them and slamming them, but you could obviously get unlucky. So, I mean, right now, we're sitting at like 16 divines just from that stuff. Obviously, if we didn't get the grand spectrum, we'd be at like 8 divines. But I think lab is still very profitable. We will be doing an ultimatum video as well this league to see how good that is. But let's go ahead and start with these jewels. Alright, so it's been a few days now since the last clip. We have 3-to-1 the jewels a few times, but we didn't really get any like crazy solid ones. This is what we're down to right here, and these aren't really selling anymore. I could probably 3-to-1 them a few more times, but for the sake of the video, I just wanted to go ahead and call it here. But so far, we have gotten a total of 26 divines and just under 100 exalts from the 10 Sekhema runs. We did spend around 3.5 divs on exalting, regaling, and augmenting the jewels, which takes us down to like 22.5 div profit, as the trials are basically free at this point. So yeah, I mean, if you can do Sekhemas quickly, I feel that it's definitely still pretty solid money, especially considering you always have the chance of getting the relic for Temporalis, which is worth like 50 div currently, and obviously the spectrum jewels as well. But let me know in the comments how lab farming has been going for you, or how you feel about it in general. Thank you for watching, and I will catch you in the next one. Peace.